The moment I saw the obituary with my name and photo next to the words beloved son and brother, I thought it was a prank. But it was worse. My family had faked my death and were holding a funeral to get access to my assets. This elaborate scam, orchestrated by the people I trusted most, is the definition of betrayal. I'm a 40-year-old man who moved overseas for a few years for work, and I'd been happily out of touch with my immediate family, my parents and my sister, after years of their constant financial demands. This wasn't a sudden estrangement, but a slow fade brought on by their incessant need for handouts, which I finally cut off 2 years ago. The only communication I maintained was through my personal assistant, who specifically managed my estate paperwork and confirmed that my health and life insurance policies were all current and named my family as secondary beneficiaries only to be safe. Everything blew up when a distant cousin called my assistant's personal phone number, weeping uncontrollably and asking why she hadn't been informed about my own passing and if the funeral was really going to be this Saturday. My assistant was utterly confused as I was sitting right there in the office, signing some contracts. After a frantic online search, we found an official-looking obituary published in my hometown's local paper, detailing my sudden, tragic passing, which it claimed happened due to a private medical emergency overseas. The obituary listed the exact time and location of the funeral, this coming Saturday at the main chapel downtown. We initially assumed it was a cruel mistake or a bizarre form of identity theft, but the details were too specific and the photo was undeniably mine. My assistant contacted the funeral home listed in the obituary, pretending to be a colleague who wanted to send expensive flowers and confirm the details. The funeral director confirmed the service was booked by my sister and that the family had provided all necessary documentation, including a sophisticated, forged death certificate issued by a supposed overseas clinic. It became chillingly clear. My family hadn't made a mistake. They were trying to kill me off on paper to claim my assets. I immediately booked the next flight home, plotting my own shocking return. My lawyer, who specializes in probate fraud, met me at the airport. He confirmed that the forged death certificate was a felony and that the intent was clearly fraudulent. He advised me not to intervene until the family committed the final irreversible act, trying to file the death claim or claim the assets to ensure the criminal charges would stick. The police were hesitant to intervene without absolutely clear, in-progress proof of a crime beyond the paper trail, particularly because no money had technically changed hands yet. This forced me into a position where I had to allow the charade to continue just to gather undeniable evidence against my own family. My lawyer arranged for a hidden camera crew to be placed near the reception hall entrance to document the emotional deceit and to capture the moment of their attempted asset claim. I decided to attend my own funeral, a decision I knew would give them the confrontation they deserved. I rented a discreet car and drove to the church. The sight was surreal. I positioned myself outside, watching everyone walk in, my parents, my sister, and dozens of distant relatives and friends who genuinely thought I was dead. I had to restrain myself from walking in immediately. My sister delivered a tearful, Oscar-worthy eulogy about my supposed untimely passing and how much they would miss their kind, generous son who always took care of them financially. I could hear gasps and sobs from inside the church. It was disgusting. Manipulative theater aimed at cementing the false reality of my demise. The service ended, and the immediate family moved to the private burial plot. I watched them stand over a sealed, ornate coffin. I still don't know what they put in there, likely sandbags, a stone, or just nothing, as the final eulogies and tears continued. The lawyer confirmed that my sister, while coordinating the service, had already been in contact with my life insurance company and several of my asset managers, initiating the claim process. The crime was fully underway. The moment the crowd began to disperse, I waited until my parents and sister were sitting alone in the receiving line inside the reception hall, which was surprisingly large and well catered, a clear expense paid for with my presumed money. I walked straight past the remaining receiving line, where stunned guests gasped and pointed, and straight to the family table. My parents saw me first, and their faces went from somber grief to pure, unadulterated terror. My mother actually screamed, dropping her glass of water. My sister, who was attempting to collect sympathy checks from guests, was the last to see me. She froze with a horrifying look of panic. I didn't yell. I simply placed my hand on the table, leaned in close to them, and asked in a low, dangerous voice, "How was my funeral? Did I look nice in the box?" The room erupted into chaos. My parents immediately tried to claim they thought I was dead, trying to blame a misunderstanding over my lack of contact and the misinformation they received. My sister's initial panic quickly turned to aggressive anger. She hissed that I was ruining her life and making a scene, saying they had done all this work to manage my affairs while I was away. The police arrived shortly after, responding to a call about a disturbance, and my lawyer arrived with them. My lawyer, holding the forged death certificate, confirmed to the police that my family had committed multiple felonies and had arranged the funeral specifically to begin filing claims on my life insurance policy and accessing my bank accounts. This confirmed the criminal intent beyond a doubt. The evidence was overwhelming. The forged certificate, the purchased coffin, the paid-for service, and the public deceit. Both my parents and my sister were arrested right there at the reception hall on multiple charges, including fraud, forgery, and conspiracy to commit theft. The depth of the scam only became clear after the arrests. My lawyer found evidence that my sister had taken several irreversible steps beyond just the insurance claims. She had used the fake death certificate to attempt to cash out several of my large investments that I had been building for retirement. She had also tried to have my car title transferred to her name, claiming it was part of my dying wishes that she manage my personal property. She wanted to wipe out my entire financial existence. The police investigation revealed that my sister had been planning this for nearly a year. Watching my financial movements and knowing that being overseas gave her the perfect window of opportunity to carry out the scam without me interfering. The entire funeral, the guests, the flowers, the food, was nothing more than an elaborate piece of manipulative theater. My parents, under questioning, admitted they were aware of the plan and were passive participants, believing they would be set up financially for life once the money came through. The fallout has been immense. The guests were horrified. The funeral home is facing lawsuits for their complicity, and I have spent the last 6 months dealing with court appearances and the sheer volume of paperwork required to legally prove I am alive and to prevent my accounts from being frozen. I've had to permanently change my passwords, bank accounts, and sever all contact with the entire family. The absolute lack of remorse from my family is what sticks with me. They only contacted me once, through their lawyer, to ask if I would drop the charges, not because they were sorry, but because the fraud charges were severely impacting their credit and reputation in the community. They only cared about the social and financial consequences, not the emotional betrayal. The criminal case is proceeding, and my sister is facing serious prison time, while my parents are likely facing significant fines and probation due to their complicity. The financial damage to me goes far beyond the legal fees. The time and stress required to freeze accounts, reverse the attempted transfers, and deal with all the legal fallout was a second layer of punishment. Even after their arrest, my mother had the audacity to write me a letter through her lawyer stating that since I clearly didn't need the money if I could afford to live overseas, they were simply helping themselves to what was going to be theirs eventually anyway, demonstrating zero remorse and a shocking level of entitlement. My lawyer advised me to sue them in civil court for all the costs incurred, including the substantial legal fees and emotional distress, which I am now pursuing. The family is entirely estranged, and I feel hollow, knowing that my own parents and sister valued my assets more than they valued my life. The whole ordeal proved that some family ties are based purely on financial gain, and when that gain is threatened, they are willing to resort to fraud and forgery. I am now rebuilding my financial life and dealing with the emotional scars of knowing my entire family tried to erase my existence just for a payout. So, what do you think? Did I go too far by having my parents and sister arrested at the reception hall, or was their elaborate scam the only thing that mattered? If this unbelievable story shocked you, hit that like button, subscribe for more drama, and I'll see you in the next one.